Welcome to another episode of the STR Sisterhood. I'm your host, Stacey St. John, and I'm so darned excited to spend a few minutes with you today. Now, before we jump into this episode, I'm going to share a quote with you that I recently read that resonated with me. And it says, "Do not let what you think they think of you make you stop and question everything you are." Those beautiful and wise words come to us from Princess Leia herself, Carrie Fisher. Now, in this episode, we are sitting down with Ashley Freeman, and we are diving into how she rapidly grew her property management business with lightning speed. And let me tell you, it didn't come without challenges. So without further ado, let's jump into my conversation with Ashley. So today we are joined by Ashley Freeman, and we are going to talk all about how she has grown her property management business and short-term rental portfolio. Ashley, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Stacey. I'm super pumped about this.
Let's have you start off and share a little bit first off about who you are and where you operate.
Sure. My name is Ashley Freeman. Like you mentioned, I am in Oxford, Mississippi. I have scaled a short-term rental property management company from 0 to 115 in less than 3 years. Like so many people in this industry, it was a complete accident. I was a tennis pro, actually at this time 4 years ago. So this has been a whirlwind of a journey. It's been amazing. I've hated some parts, loved the majority of the ride, but I feel super blessed to be here. And I get to meet incredibly gifted, powerful women like yourself. I think you and I connected. We were in the boardroom together for a short time, and then you exited, and I kind of stayed through the journey because you had your own things going on. So I've looked up to you for a while now, and it's like talking to royalty. So you know how it is. But when you first get started in this business, before I joined STR Secrets, I remember having to have this conversation with myself before the first boardroom, thinking, I can do this. I'm worthy of this. I've deserved to be here, because you have this imposter syndrome, and you've been doing this for so long. I just look at you like this amazing idol in the short-term rental world. So kudos to you, but thank you. You've helped pave the way for myself. So,
well, that means so much. Thank you for sharing that. And vice versa. I look at you, I'm like, girlfriend, she is killing it. And I'm excited to talk to you about that. First, I just have to ask you, how did you get from tennis pro to short-term rentals? What did that look like?
So in 2014, I hit a, unexpected bump in the road, went through a divorce. We had just purchased a house on 4 acres of land. My daughter was 4 at the time. And, I did not have a way to make ends meet. Tennis was great, but I was only out on the courts. I taught little kids. And so, I was only out on the courts from 3 to 7 p.m., sometimes 8 p.m. And that wasn't going to fly with me being a single mom now. And so I had to pivot and make some changes. And Airbnb was just hitting the scene. We live in a college town. Ole Miss is located here, University of Mississippi. And I thought, I'm just going to go for it. I have this huge house. It's on acreage. It's beautiful. Somewhere in the middle of all that, I decided it would be a great idea to get chickens and guineas. And then about a month after those birds survived, I thought, I'm a professional farmer, bring on the big animals. And so that helped, kind of bring people into our little farm world. And it did remarkably well the first year. I think we made 25 to 30,000 the first year. And I thought, I have hit the lottery. I've hit the jackpot. This is the key to life, Right. And so I started really thinking about this could potentially be a future option for me. How do I make this work? And I took some money that I had and I built a small cottage on the side of our property. And so with my big house in full force and then the cottage in full effect, I thought, this is great income. It's generating, really well. ROI was incredibly high, and then COVID hit, and the wheels fell off. But only for a week, and people wanted to quarantine and come to the farm, so it was a major blessing. My brother has been one of my mentors because he just is such a, entrepreneur, has always had that mindset. He thought, Ashley, you need to think about this as a way to retire off the courts. And I thought, you're right. And so I acquired 2 arbitrage rentals, furnished them fully. They were near like the local hotspot, the square, the university. And after I furnished those 2, got them launched, I had 4 properties. I think I just put it on social media and people started following my journey. And I remember being in the gym one day and someone called and they were like, hey, we have this property. We want you to manage it. And I looked at my brother. I was like, I don't know what, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to do this? I don't know what I'm doing, but so he said, yeah, go for it. Tell them you'll take it for 25, you'll charge them 25% of revenue. And that was it. That was how I launched the business. And it just grew so quickly. But like I said, it's been the wild, wild west. But there's just so much information and people out there that are willing to share and help you grow. And I've been really fortunate to connect with a lot of folks in the industry that way.
Yeah. Amazing. And I totally agree. I think this industry is so phenomenal because we, in my opinion, there's enough business to go around for everyone, right? There are so many opportunities that we can share, not only learnings, but mistakes we've made along the way and help someone else avoid those same mistakes. And so I think for me, it's a passion just to help other people, right?
Right. And I think that's what I became addicted to is, this opportunity changed my life. It changed the trajectory of my life. And I wanted to help other people have that opportunity as well. After the divorce, I was broken and filled with shame and guilt. I was the first person in our family to get a divorce. I wanted to crawl in a hole. I just was like in a really dark place and I needed a refresh, a restart. And so I, out of the blue, signed up for a mission trip to go to Africa with our church and to just serve and reconnect with the Lord and just try to find purpose in my life again because my identity was no longer a wife and, a mom. I was a mom still, but no longer a partnership.
Right.
So I went to Africa and just was blown away by the way this organization, Show Mercy International, empowered the people in these villages that have nothing. However, they created these opportunities for these folks by teaching them how to make a way for themselves. So they did not enable these folks, but they motivated and inspired and empowered these folks. And I thought, you know what? If they can do it here, I can for sure do it in the States. Yeah. And so I just implemented that into every little thing that I did. Tennis courts, short-term rental world, the way I hired people. I just felt, if I can make a way, if I can change my life so drastically, then I want to help other people achieve that too. And so that's what, as you see the difference that you can make in someone else's life. And I never thought that I was capable of being a difference maker. Right. And so when I changed my mindset and thought, I am powerful in this way, I can really make a difference in the lives of other people, I jumped on board. I never looked back. And it has just been an incredible blessing. Just amazing.
I love that. And as you well know, it's so easy for so many people to think, I don't know enough yet to change someone else's life. I don't know enough yet to help someone. And what I've learned along the way, and I'm curious to get your perspective too, is you don't have to know everything to help someone else. You just need to know 5% more, 7% more, 10% more. And there are always people that are going to know more than you. And there are always going to be people that know less than you. And so when we focus on serving others and supporting their journeys, not only is it incredibly helpful for them, it's incredibly rewarding work, right?
Yes. Yes. I became obsessed with, seeing how people felt when their lives did change, and that was just such a powerful thing for me to experience. And so I never wanted to stop. But you're right. By putting myself in rooms with people that were way farther ahead of me, I had no other choice, but to hang on to the reins and just learn from these amazing folks. And the crazy thing is, I walked into these rooms with such a sense of like, I'm not worthy of being here. They know so much more than I do. They were just like me. They started out just like I did. They had zero knowledge, but they figured it out. The most important part was that they started. And I know you're a big component with, continuing education, continuing knowledge. And we have so much, podcasts, reading material. I mean, you name it. You can figure out how to, do anything you absolutely want to, but you have to invest the time and you have to make the choice. And so just by making that decision in my mind and going for it, it's changed everything. So it's been great.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So I want to go back to, you got the call in the gym for someone that said, I want you to manage my property. You took on that client. Now, give us the scoop between your first client and property number 135. Like, talk to us about that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, as you know, it's like being in a soap opera every day. It's like days of our lives. What will we find today? Will there be handcuffs in the toilet? Or you just don't know.
Right.
And so that's kind of the beauty of this industry. You have to learn to roll with the punches, and you can't take anything really personally. The first client was probably one of the hardest ones for me. And so I had to humble myself. And I had to really, be patient and understand, like, what were his goals? What did he want out of this? And to be able to channel like my frustrations and focus on his needs, and just listen to what he wanted, I was able to kind of shift some of my thinking and get out of my own head. But from going from point A to point Z so quickly, I didn't have a lot of time to get in my own way. I mean, the Lord was really so kind in the way that he tiptoed me along the way, but I didn't have time to really think, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. It's too much. There's too many irons in the fire, because, this industry has changed so much. You can't just put a listing out there and expect it to do well. Times have changed. I mean, there's softwares and you're, managing people, and it's just all the emotions. But I didn't have time to really understand what I was getting myself into. But really, the Lord just really was so kind in the way that he introduced me to, little baby steps, one property at a time, and then folks along the way that could help improve the business. So,
okay. So I have so many things to ask you. First of all, I love that you're sharing about your journey with the Lord. And I will say, I am a person of faith. I am very cognizant of, just because I'm a believer or you're a believer, we're not saying you should be a believer if you're a listener or a watcher. But what I do want to talk about for just a hot minute, Ashley, because I know in my own journey, it has made an incredible difference. And that is being willing to listen to the Lord, right? And so for years, I compared myself against my mother, okay, who was like the best mom on the planet. Like, she was amazing, okay? And after she passed away, I, for years, thought I'm not as good of a mom as she was. I'm not as good of a wife as she was. I loved business, and my mom loved to make cookies for me. And I'm a lesser person because of it, right? So for so many years, I just measured myself against this ruler of my mom, and I never measured up. And I went to a Bible study. And the Bible study class was discerning the voice of God. And I remember sitting there the first day, and all of these women were standing up and saying, well, when the Lord talks to me and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, why am I the only one in this room that God does not talk to?
Right.
Right. And throughout that Bible study, I learned that in order to hear the Lord, I had to open up my ears. I had to actually have quiet in my life, quiet time, so I could listen and be willing to receive what he was sharing with me. I'm just curious, what did that look like for you? Like you had mentioned, the Lord took you on these baby steps. Were you always in tune with what God was leading you toward? What did that look like?
Absolutely, positively not. After the divorce, that was hard enough. But I thought, I rebuilt, I kind of, stepped into this business, but I was still attracting the same toxic relationships. And there was another relationship that just led me to a very dark place. And at that point in time, I was on my hands and knees one day and I just surrendered. And I was like, I can't do it my way anymore. I mean, I want to take control of this because we all like to control in our own way, but I can't because it's getting me nowhere. And so I just remember praying like, hey, it's your way now, Lord, not mine. And that day changed my life. And I think too, listening for the voice of God, it's not, I did have heard him say, Ashley, XYZ, Ashley, do this. I have heard a voice, not in the physical sense, but I have heard that. But I think so many people misunderstand what that means, right? It's that gut feeling. It's that whisper that says, hey, you need to call them and tell them what you just thought of, that thought, or you need to call this person and just give them a word of encouragement right now. It's that little voice that comes in your head really quickly. It's not always this big giant sign from the Lord. It's these little whispers and these little gut feelings. And I just never knew. I really think I thought I'm going to hear the voice of the Lord.
I know. I'm sitting in that class. I'm like, what? Why doesn't God call me on the phone? Like, when we're talking to God,
right?
Where's my lifeline? And to your point, that is what I have learned as well. And I talk about that in Live Big. Your intuition, I call my God rod because I do picture it as a visual thing, but he is at my core and I have to listen to what it feels like when that whisper happens.
Right.
And oftentimes, again, people might listen to me say that and go, wow, this girl is wackadoodle, right? But it really feels different when it is my intuition, my gut, my God rod. I know what it feels like now. I didn't know what it felt like before. Right. And so I love that you've been open to receiving those nudges, those whispers, because the other thing too is God is not going to have like a text message sent to you, right? You're not going to hear him on your radio or TV.
Loudspeaker.
Right, exactly. So again, go ahead.
Yeah, to your point, I remember being in Africa and thinking, this was like my third trip I had visited. And I remember thinking, he has blessed my life and changed my life so much. So I really want to offer that to other women who were in my same shoes, who are feeling like this was it for their life. They'd hit this traumatic experience or this event in their life, and that was it. Their life was over. Who were they going to be? And I just remember thinking, I want all the broken women. And I prayed to the Lord, send me all the broken women. I want to change their lives. And man, did he answer left and right, left and right, left and right. But I didn't know what I was doing again. But I just shared the hope and the love and my experience and my journey, through Christ. And to your point, some people don't believe in the Lord, and that's okay. We're all on our own journey. I do think there's a sense of faith that you have to have in business. regardless if you believe in the Lord or not. You know, you have to have faith. It's that leap of faith that you're taking to even get started. And so another reason I think I became so in tune to what the Lord was saying was that I learned to love myself for the first time after 40 years, you know, and I started trusting myself and started trusting that inner voice. And that was another door that opened me up to like so many other opportunities. And I have full trust in, you know, every thought that I think and every whisper from the Lord. And that's just, you know, I don't think had I not experienced all the events that had taken place in my life, I don't think I would be here. Sure. You know, you have to kind of be in the trenches and experience it to grow and learn and change. And so, yeah, it's been a really cool journey, but I love getting that nudge from the Lord. I'll give you an example. I had a picture of an angel on my desk, and it had been there for a long time. And I sat at my desk one day, looked at the angel, and I heard the Lord say, "You need to call." One of my VAs had lost her partner. "You need to call or text her and say, I just feel like I need to give you a word of encouragement." I looked at this angel and immediately I felt like her partner was saying, "Hey, reach out to Denise and tell her that she's loved and that she can, you know, do hard things and that she's going to be okay." And I was like, this is crazy. I'm not going to do that. But I did it. And it was their anniversary. It was their anniversary that day. And I mean, she ball cried. I have chills just thinking about it because when you really follow that gut, I mean, you get amazing. It's like the Lord really speaks to you, you know, you're like, yes, it's real. You're real. You know, it's just such an affirmation, you know, of He is there and He's always there with us, you know, and He wants us to trust us in those ways. And so it's one of my favorite things to do is take that little whisper and run with it. Whatever you hear, go for it.
Go for it. You know, and I don't know about you again. If you're listening, you might be like, girl, I thought we were talking about short-term rentals, not God. But I want to share an example of how God showed up in my life this morning. So right before we pushed record, I was saying to Ashley that I did not sleep well last night. And one of the reasons I did not sleep well is I was making a determination of whether I wanted to pursue a property that basically fell in my lap. And on paper, there are all the things on paper that make it appear like it is a great opportunity. And the numbers pencil out beautifully. You know, I have all the I's dotted and T's crossed. But there is something about that property where I just have this gut feeling, no, this is not a good move. And I was wrestling with that last night because I was like, oh, but your ego gets in the way, your personal desires get in the way, and you begin to rationalize why you shouldn't listen. Like in my mind, I was rationalizing with myself, oh, I should do this because of X, Y, and Z. And I just kept going back to that whisper, that gut feeling. And I got up this morning and I'm like, I know the answer. Like, I'm just going to turn it down. Like, I'm just going to say no. And once I said no, it was like the weight of the world lifted off my shoulders. And again, you could be watching or listening and going, okay, great. Glad that happens for you, Stacey. But what I really want to say is that God is talking. I believe God is talking to each of us like that. We have to be willing to open our ears to listen. And if you don't know how to open your ears to listen, I am here to support you. And I think Ashley is here to support you.
Yeah, 100%.
It is something that is absolutely powerful and wonderful when you do listen. And I don't know about you. I've had times where I don't listen. And then I'm like, wow, I really should listen.
Yep. No. Half my life. Half my life, I look back on situations like if I had only listened, but I don't doubt the blueprints that he has prepared for my life.
Yeah.
And as you know, every opportunity, whether good, bad, ugly, it's all happened for a purpose. He's working everything out for us. So I don't doubt anything anymore.
Yeah. I love it. Okay. So I want to go back to your property management growth. So you got this first client. Had you set out, once you took on that first client, were you like, I want to scale this super fast? Like what did that goal look like for you in your first year, let's say? And how did it play out, that growth?
I did not have a goal. I did not have a plan. I was just kind of like a wing and a prayer. Everything was just fly by the seat of my pants. Whatever happens, happens. But as the business continued to grow, I realized like I have to have a plan. There needs to be goals put in place. And so I remember wanting to be, and my goals were simple at the beginning. I just wanted to really fulfill the wishes and dreams of these clients, because all of these properties that I took on were investment properties. They wanted to see revenue return. And so I just remember thinking, okay, my only goal is to make sure that happens. How do I produce that for them? And so, I mean, to start simple is okay. As I grew and scaled, I had to put, goals and more plans in place, concrete plans, so I could grow and scale in that way. But at first it was just so simple,
Yeah.
I listened to the needs of my clients, and I just put the bricks together one brick at a time.
Yeah. So talk to us about what your business looks like today. Let's talk about your team. I know you mentioned you hired people. What does that team look like right now?
So the first year, I think I ended right at 35 properties. I was handwriting invoices. I was, cleaning units. I did have several cleaners, but this was like me in the trenches. And I can look back and I know why. I can relate to everyone on my team now, which is a great thing, because you can relate to those folks. But in the beginning, I did all of this with myself and several, cleaners, and that was it. Then I discovered what a VA was. I found like the most incredible VA, and she knew all the backside of the business, the property management, the PMS system, and syncing with VRBO and direct booking, all the things that I didn't want to learn or did not have time to learn. She was a pro. And so we went from 35 to 60 properties that next year. In the meantime, I took one of my really great friends who I had begged to come and join the team. She started as a cleaner and, trusted me. And I said, I'll continue to elevate you, but just, can you help me right now? Here's my need. I need a cleaner. She did. She is now an operation manager for me and killing it in the sales and marketing and operation side of the business. But after the VA came on board, it's like my business shot through the roof. Currently we have 15 in-house cleaners, a quality control manager, an operations manager. I have 4 VAs, one of which is, like a lead VA, and she has brought on the other VAs, a social media manager. I have handyman, a laundromat, a laundry manager. So it's like, I never wanted to be in this position. I didn't want to be a leader. I was fine being a passenger princess and just telling me what to do.
Right.
But I had to figure it out. And through that journey, I just became like so proud of myself, and it's this team of incredibly powerful women that the Lord has so carefully orchestrated, and only He could bring together these folks. The folks from the Philippines, we're like family. We celebrate wins, losses, family stuff, all the things. I could not have done that on my own, and so it's just when I look back at the journey and think, okay, how did I get from A to B? It's just, who I hired.
Yep.
And that's a big, putting systems and processes in place. That's huge.
Yep.
But I would say the most important two things that I added would be, the people that I brought onto the team,
Mm-hmm.
and then implementing systems and process for everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I want to talk for another moment about the people, and it's so cool to hear you say that you've got in-house cleaners. I have brought cleaning in-house in my business this year, and it has been, early on, it was very difficult, but I will say it's been a tremendous improvement in the quality of the cleaning, and as well as I have so much more of an integrated team who really, really buy into our guest experience versus a third-party cleaner that's just showing up to do a job, right?
Right.
Did you always have cleaning in-house as you were growing? I know you said you started yourself, but when you started hiring cleaners, were they always working directly with you, or were you ever working with third-party cleaners?
No, I mean, we brought on people that we, knew locally, and they kind of just stuck with me. And as you know, like, cleaning to me is like the most important part of the experience. And so we've never even considered trying to go out and hire third-party cleaners because they just don't get it. There's a difference between a regular clean and an Airbnb clean, and we all know that.
Right.
And the guests, their expectations. And so as we grew, our cleaners would call friends that they worked for at a previous company and say, hey, this company's awesome to work for. Come on over. And so we did it that way, and just word of mouth. And I've always just talked to these women like, hey, this is your business. This is your job. This is your business. This is for you to manage. I'm going to fill your calendar as much as possible, but also in the off season, you've got to go out there and find other jobs, that can kind of, because we do all go through slow seasons. Yeah. So they do that. But yes, for the most part, they're in-house. We use them all year long. They're a huge part of our family. Yeah. We celebrate wins and losses. We just had a mastermind meeting together because they're the hands and feet of the company. Yeah. They see things that we don't. And it's really important to me that I support them in making their job as easy as possible because they are physically working their tails off. And I totally respect that.
Yeah. It is an extremely demanding job, even for my quality control inspectors, because, our inspectors, they have to unmake the beds and they have to check the fitted sheets, the flat sheets, the pillowcases. So it is not just like they're, zipping along with a flashlight and going, hey, I've been in this property 5 minutes and it looks great. Like, they are doing very physical work, even the inspectors. Right. And I want to go back to the fact that during the off season, one of the things that I have now done and am opening up is a cleaning company to keep my cleaners busy during the off season. Right.
I thought about doing that, and I toiled with the idea. And, my trusty brother was like, you've got this baby. You need to grow this one baby. Continue feeding the baby. Do not get distracted. Right. However, I would love to serve them in that way and help. So I cannot wait to pick your brain about this.
Yeah. It's something that I'm really excited about. And again, there is a business need on my property management side to keep my cleaning and my inspection team happy, right? Yeah. I want them to be happy, to feel empowered, for them to know that I am there to support their family's financial growth, right? And so anything that I can do to do that is really important to me. So that's so cool.
A really core value that we have, and everyone on our team focuses in on this is our mission field. You don't have to go out of the country to serve people. The hospitality industry is our mission field. And so we're serving these clients that come in by giving them experiences that they'll never forget.
Right.
And everyone knows that, and so everyone believes it, and we've all bought into it. And truly, like, we know that this is our purpose. This is our, what kind of continues to light our fire. So
yeah, so good. So good. I want to talk with you about systems and processes, because this is also an area that I am extremely passionate about. And I think so many folks, when they have come into the world of short-term rentals, especially during the big boom in COVID, when, so many people were entering the space. And to your point, back in the day, like, you could just throw up a property on Airbnb and it would take off like hotcakes, right?
Right.
Not that way anymore, number one. And so we're really starting to see separation between the people
players,
with big girl panties on and the people without big girl panties
right.
on. But I'm curious, from your end, what is your secret sauce to building systems and processes? How do you do that? Do you have a defined regimen that you follow? Talk to us a little bit about that.
I don't have, there's not like a true system that I follow. I remember listening to a podcast, I think it was Short-Term Rental Secrets, and maybe not, maybe someone told me, but in order to grow and scale, you have to prepare ahead of time for that growth. You have to have your systems and processes in place. So I remember taking that and knowing that I wanted to scale to at least 100 properties. Even though I couldn't afford to bring on some of these folks, I did it anyway. I wanted, because I knew if I didn't, I was going to get to that period at that point of growth and not be able to sustain that growth. So I tell my team all the time, if there's a process or if there's a problem with anything, I don't care if it's the lint, thing in the dryer needs to be changed. We can come up with an SOP for that. And thank God for ChatGPT, because I tell it exactly what I need a SOP for and it spits it out. And we have a book of SOPs that everybody refers to if there's a problem. And it's made a world of difference in our organization and the way we organize things. And so it's been a game changer for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always saying to my team, okay, if we don't have a process for something and there's an issue around it, our job is to create a process to keep that issue from happening again. Right?
Exactly. Right.
And for me, a lot of times what I'll do is I will break out Loom and I will just talk into Loom or, show something on my computer. And Loom will also take your video, and I love video because I think it's great to interact with on the receiving end, but it will also build out an SOP for you. And then what you can do is take that over to ChatGPT and say, how can I make this even better? Right.
What did we do without ChatGPT?
I know.
It's an amazing innovation.
It really is. It really is. The other thing too is it's very important to quality control check what ChatGPT is spitting out, because it is spitting out stuff that it is learning from all these different open sources, and it may or may not apply to your business, right? Okay, so I am curious, what do you feel like has been the most challenging thing for you as you have grown your property management company to now well over 100 units? Where do you feel like your biggest challenge has been? And how did you navigate that?
I'll be really honest. Overhead expenses for us have been a huge challenge because, as you know, you have to have a software for this and a software for that, and hire someone for this and hire someone for that. And so when we added up all of our expenses, we were looking at, overhead costs of monthly costs of between $300 and $350 for each property every single month. And so I have taken the time, because that's affecting, our bottom line, but it's also affecting the revenue for our homeowners. And I want to increase that revenue number for them as well. So that has been a huge challenge for us to comb through every single expense and to see where we can cut back or, sign a yearly contract and save some money on some of those softwares that we're using. That's been the challenging thing, because in order to run a business this size, we have to have these softwares. I mean, we just have to. You can't do it without Wheelhouse. You can't do without your PMS. You just can't. And so learning how to navigate that, how to speak to your revenue management company and say, hey, we want to sign for 2 years. Can we get a discount if we do that? Yes, absolutely. A lot of people are really willing to work with you. You just have to be willing to share your need. But that's been a huge issue for us. And also just learning about how to navigate the finances of a business. I wasn't geared to think this way. I was rainbows and butterflies on the tennis courts with little kids, and I didn't learn about the finances of a business until it was too late. And then we were in a hole, and I had to learn about money and about budgets and about expenses. And so that's been the most challenging part, is just how to navigate the world of finances. But, once you get it down, you grow and you learn and you improve in so many ways.
Exactly.
What about you? What's your...
I think my biggest challenge in growing my business has actually been finding good cleaners. I have, this past year, I intentionally did not focus on growing my portfolio of properties because I was bringing cleaning in-house because I was having challenges with the quality of the clean. So I feel like because of the quality of the cleaning that was being delivered, I didn't feel comfortable that I could deliver a good product if I grew even more until I had that cleaning challenge solved. And by bringing my team in-house, it has opened up a world of opportunities. So this fall, I'm super excited because Mama's going on the hunt, right? To grow my business when it comes to my property management clients, because I have an incredible team that I feel 100% confident that I can deliver a fantastic product, right?
So how do you, turnover is a huge problem in the cleaning world. However, we have had no one has left our business, because we do. It's important for me that I'm no different than those women, like we're all going to the same place.
Right.
They're doing it. They're performing a different task, but they're no different than I am. And so how do I treat them with that level of respect and care? How do I empower them to know, like, hey, they're doing one of the most important jobs that there is in this industry. And I think, financially, making sure that they're financially taken care of, making sure that we listen to their needs and what, would make them more effective out in the field. But I'm curious, like, how you have sustained your team so far.
Yeah. I will tell you, for about every 4 to 5 people who we anticipate onboarding, there's really one gem, right? And so it's those gems that I hold on to. There are unfortunately a lot of people who say all the right things, but when it comes to execution, they don't actually deliver on what they say they offer from a quality perspective or attention to detail. So some of the ways that I retain my folks is we have regular meetings with our cleaning and quality control team together. So they're not separate, they are together. We provide a forum for 360 conversations, right, during those team meetings. So I am sharing not only key reminders, hey, when you go into a property, we want to make sure X, Y, and Z. We're delivering key reminders, but I'm also sharing with them what's happening in our business and what's coming down the pike and what growth we are having and about this cleaning company and why I've started this cleaning company. So they're seeing at a macro level what is going on in our world, in my world, so that they're a part of that from the get-go. They know they're a part of that.
Yep. I think that's crucial.
Yeah, absolutely.
For them to know the vision.
Yes.
And for them to be on the same page and to buy into the vision. It's like I told my girls this morning, hey, the better we do, the more we grow, the more you guys are going to grow, and you're going to be able to provide more for your family and for yourselves. And so I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing that we do in those meetings is, reverse the tables. So say, okay, all right, the floor is open. Tell me about what challenges you're having. What do we need to do to make your lives easier? And sometimes it is them coaching each other, right? Say, hey, I'm an inspector and I really need this from the cleaning team. And the cleaners say, hey, I really need this from an inspection perspective, right? So they're collaborating together and we facilitate that conversation. Secondarily, though, they might say to me, we really need a better way to take out stained linens and separate them from non-stained linens, right? So how can we do that in a more efficient way? And so my job is to figure that out for them, right? And to give them the tools and the resources to be able to do that. So on our team meeting this morning, I was asking, hey, those separate color laundry bags, did you guys get them? Have they been helpful? Is anybody here to give feedback about that?
We just had the same conversation at our meeting this morning. It's same stained linens. That's correct. Okay. Thank you. Just solved my problem.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah. It's, again, I never thought when I bought my first property that I would be focused on pillowcases and put it in flat sheets. But again, right.
Yeah.
So, but again, I think helping to remove roadblocks for them and for them to know that that's my job. I know that's my job, right? For them. And then again, just an example of our team meeting this morning, I'm actually visiting. So my property management company is 10 hours away from where I live, right?
Wow.
And so I do all of this remotely. And so I shared with them, hey, I'm coming, into town next week. I'm going to take everybody to dinner on Wednesday. So let me know if you're up for some Italian. And one of them said, hey, at dinner, can we talk about this topic, right? Where she wanted to be proactive, the person who brought up in the meeting, she wanted to be proactive on how can we improve role clarity between the cleaners and the inspectors. So the inspectors aren't doing the cleaner's job. The inspectors aren't dusting, right? But we've also cross-trained our cleaners to also inspect. So she's like, I see opportunity that we could make the cleaners' lives a little easier if we have the inspectors do some things. And I'm like, I love that. Yes, let's talk about it at dinner, right? So having an open forum where you're not only sharing the vision for the company, and key reminders, you're receiving information from them like, we need this. And so my job is to remove roadblocks, but also facilitating conversation for people to feel comfortable to bring forth ideas, because I am not an expert at management of stained linens, as an example, right? So it's like, if I can leverage their expertise and their ideas, it helps improve the entire organization, right?
Yes.
So again, just being open to receiving that information, I think, is so incredibly helpful. And my team understands that about me, right?
Same. Yeah. And it is truly important to me. I know I value what these women say because they are on the front lines,
Yes.
And I think it empowers them in such a cool way for them to have our mastermind session this morning. Not only am I there to give them praise and say, hey, our ratings have been through the roof, but I also want to know what y'all are seeing. And I mean, real quick, they're like, we see this and we see, and so, but I don't know. It just kind of really, like, you can see that they're proud, that they're sharing, and it's empowering that they're able to give back to the company.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This is so fun. I could talk about this for days.
I know.
Okay. Ashley, I want to move to the lightning round. Okay. So I want to ask you some questions and you just answer with the very first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
First question is, where is your favorite place to vacation?
30A.
Okay.
Beaches. Mm-hmm.
Are pretty gorgeous. Pretty gorgeous. Are you a Miramar Beach, Destin, Seaside? Like, what's your favorite go-to?
Seaside is it's like filled with too many people now. So it's like Rosemary, Blue Mountain, that little area.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little quieter, not as overtaken with tourists, but anywhere down there, I'm not going to be picky. It's just the blue water and the white sands. I don't think you can go wrong.
I went there for the first time and I was like, it's like the Caribbean is drivable from Ohio.
Right. Exactly. And we're only 6 hours away.
Wow.
So we get down there as much as we possibly can. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay. What's one place you've never been that you want to visit?
Greece.
Greece. I hear that a lot. I will tell you, I just went a couple of months ago and it's amazing. It is amazing. It's beautiful.
Is the food amazing?
Girl, the food is so good. And I feel like I've probably said this on about 4 podcast episodes. So if you're listening and you're like, you're going to tell me this story again, but I learned so much about Greek salad. So when you order a Greek salad in the US, you get lettuce and you get the cucumbers and tomatoes and onions and olives, and then all of this heavy Greek dressing, right? Mm-hmm. Well, it's not like that there. It's all just fresh vegetables, no lettuce, okay? Fresh
fettuccine duped this whole time.
The whole time, and just olive oil. It is so good. Like, I have eaten that probably 3 nights a week for dinner. I'm sure my family is like, can we hang it up with the Greek salad?
Move it on.
But I just love it so much. Anyway.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay, I'm going.
And the wine. So I love me so much wine. Same. I did not know that Greece was like a haven for wine. So I also really enjoyed that.
Win-win. Why is it we get to this age and what we, really enjoy are the, sleep, what we vacation, and what we eat.
That's right. That's right. Amazing. It's the little things in life, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So fun. Okay. Next question is, what's one thing you know now that you wished you knew when you were starting out in the world of short-term rentals?
Not to take all the complaints and the negative feedback personally.
Mm-hmm.
I've been such a perfectionist my whole life. I was in athletics, playing tennis in college, and grew up playing tennis, and everything I did was performance-based. And so I got rewarded for winning, for being perfect, and so I didn't know how to take it when someone was complaining, or y'all didn't do this, or y'all didn't do that. And it hurt my little baby heart. I was like, I have failed them. But in every moment now, what I do is just listen to what they need, listen to their needs, and then figure out the opportunity in that problem. Or, the learning process in that problem. So I just flipped my mindset. That's all it was. Yeah. But it was really hard for me to not take things personally, because this is your baby. You grew it, from the very beginning. And so how dare you, give us negative feedback. So, yeah.
And the other thing too, early on in my journey, I would feel a lot of stress, like, oh my gosh, the air conditioning is out. And, I took it on personally when something happened at a property, and I had to learn, hey, there is an issue that we're dealing with. And obviously we're taking care of that guest, but it can't steal my own joy. Right.
Yeah. Well, you think about it, I'm the same way, and I still kind of get that way. I'm like, we have to be urgent when we fix this stuff. This is someone's experience. But when we travel to Airbnbs and stuff like that happens, it's not a big deal. You report it, they send someone over, and I'm not stressing, and so I just have to put myself in the shoes of a guest. Like, I doubt they're stressing that the dishwasher is not operating at the moment,
Right. Right.
But I take it, like you said, I just take it personally because I want everything to be perfect and go smoothly.
Yeah.
And that's just not going to happen.
Right. Not reality. Not reality.
No.
All right. No, this isn't the last question. What is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Best lead, I think for me is to we always focus on the job at hand, hustle, grind, the job. And really life has nothing to do with the jobs that we perform. It has everything to do with the relationships and the people that we meet along the way. And, I know one day I'm going to be able to look back and see why every single person was put in my path, and I just think that's life is, really getting to know someone in the relationship and why our paths crossed. And it's cool when you look at it that way and you're not like the hustle, the grind, I got to get this job done. But I learned that my first mission trip to Belize, the director actually said that, hey, listen, as Americans, we want to go out there and get it and knock it out. And it's not about the job. It's about the relationship. And I have never forgotten that. And I've implemented it along, the way ever since.
That's beautiful. I love that. And it's so true. It's so true. When we look back, when we're getting ready to go to the pearly gates, you're probably not sitting on your deathbed thinking about your job.
Right.
You're thinking about the people in your life. Right.
And I think too, somebody said this to me recently, you're going to get to the pearly gates and the Lord's going to say, what did you do with the life that I gave you? How did you serve? Because he's given us this extraordinary life, and it's up to us, to fill those minutes and the time that we have here and to know that we're making a difference. And so I really focus on that a lot more than I used to, As you get older, I think you learn what's important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. This is the last question. What is one thing and or person that you're grateful for today?
My daughter, Lucy. She just turned 16 yesterday.
Happy birthday.
I know.
Lucy.
Oh my gosh. I was in the fields all day. I mean, it's, going through an experience like she and I did when she was 4. And she's really had to be brave and courageous. And I draw so much inspiration from her because I was not like that. I never trusted my gut. I didn't have a voice for myself. And she's a gangster. I mean, she knows what she wants. She is, she's heard me in these mindset calls and now she's, writing out her affirmations and she's manifesting. And we have such a special relationship. And she is my why. She's my why. I want to inspire her. She inspires me. So, yeah.
So wonderful. Ashley, if someone wants to learn more about you, where can they find you online?
Our company, the name of our company is Velvet Ditch Villas. And so we are under Velvet Ditch Villas on Instagram and also Facebook. I do have a personal Instagram, official Ashley Freeman. So they can find me there as well.
Wonderful. Ashley, thank you so much for being here.
I'm going to blow you up after this call about that cleaning business.
All right.
I mean, if we can serve other people in that way too, why not?
Yeah.
So, okay, I got so many little nuggets from this call. So anytime you want to reconnect, you just let me know.
I love it.
Okay.
So good.
All right.
Thank you so much.